Imagine a man walking through an airport with nothing but a briefcase, a ticket, and an unshakable calm. No disguise, no panic, no clues, just confidence. In 1971, that man introduced himself as Dan Cooper, boarded a commercial flight, and executed the most legendary unsolved plane hijacking in American history, then vanished into the night without leaving a single trace behind. Today, more than 50 years later, investigators, detectives, amateur sleuths, and the FBI still debate one question. Who was D.B. Cooper? And how did he escape a fate no one else could have survived? It was the afternoon of November 24th, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving. Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 was preparing for a short 30-minute trip from Portland to Seattle. Among the 36 passengers was a quiet, well-dressed man wearing a dark suit, a black tie, and a neatly pressed white shirt. He looked like a businessman finishing a long day of travel. Nothing about him signaled danger. After taking his seat in the rear of the aircraft, he ordered a bourbon and soda, watched the plane take off, and then calmly handed a note to the flight attendant. A note she initially ignored, assuming it was a phone number from a lonely traveler. But this was no casual message. The man leaned toward her and whispered, "Miss, you'd better look at that. I have a bomb." Inside the note, he claimed his briefcase contained explosives, and to prove he was serious, he opened it just enough for her to see a tangle of red cylinders and wires. He spoke softly, politely, almost professionally, giving her instructions without raising his voice. He demanded $200,000 in cash for parachutes and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle to refuel the aircraft upon landing. In exchange, he promised no one would get hurt. The airline and authorities complied immediately. The plane circled Seattle for nearly 2 hours as FBI agents gathered the ransom money and parachutes. Passengers were told the delay was due to minor mechanical difficulties. They had no idea their plane had been hijacked. When the flight finally landed, Cooper allowed all passengers and several crew members to leave safely. He never threatened anyone, never harmed anyone. He was calm, eerily calm, through every minute of the ordeal. With only a few crew members remaining, the plane took off again at Cooper's command. He wanted to go to Mexico City, but insisted the aircraft fly low and slow, around 10,000 feet, with the landing gear down and rear stairs lowered. This was not standard procedure. In fact, no one had ever attempted something like this mid-flight. As the plane entered stormy night skies over the Pacific Northwest, Cooper put on a parachute, secured the bag of cash to his body, and walked toward the rear of the aircraft at around 8 p.m. In freezing temperatures and heavy rain, he lowered the aft stairs and jumped into the darkness. And that is where the mystery truly begins. When the plane landed safely in Reno, Cooper was gone. Search teams combed forests, fields, and rugged terrain across Washington and Oregon, but no body, parachute, clothing, or trace of Cooper was found. Some investigators believed he never survived the jump, that the wind, cold, and rough landing zone guaranteed his death. But others argued he knew exactly what he was doing. Cooper had requested the specific model of plane. He knew its speed, altitude capabilities, and the fact that its rear staircase could open mid-flight. He picked his flight path carefully. He asked for 4 parachutes, forcing the FBI to provide real ones instead of sabotaged equipment. Nothing about his plan appeared amateur. Over the decades, potential suspects emerged: ex-military paratroopers, escaped criminals, missing men with strange histories, but none have ever been definitively linked to the hijacker. The FBI conducted one of the longest manhunts in its history, interviewing thousands of people and chasing leads across the country. Yet every clue led to another dead end. Then, in 1980, a small breakthrough. A young boy playing near the Columbia River discovered bundles of old, decaying cash buried in the sand. The serial numbers matched the ransom money given to Cooper. But there was no body, no parachute, no sign of a man. Just the money, partially destroyed, washed up miles from the suspected jump zone. It answered one question and created 10 new ones. Did Cooper land safely and hide the money, only for some of it to wash downstream? Did he die in the wilderness and his cash drift away over time? Or was the money planted there to mislead investigators? No one knows. To this day, the case remains open in the minds of the public, even though the FBI officially closed its active investigation in 2016. D.B. Cooper has become an American folk legend, part criminal mastermind, part ghost story, part symbol of the ultimate escape. Whether he was a highly trained professional or simply a daring man willing to risk everything, his story endures because he achieved something no hijacker before or after has ever done. He vanished cleanly, completely, and forever. Before we continue exploring more mysterious events like this one, make sure to subscribe if you enjoy deep dive storytelling without any fluff. Your support helps the channel grow and lets us bring more unsolved mysteries, bizarre disappearances, and strange historical events straight to your feed. And if you think you know who D.B. Cooper really was, drop your theory in the comments. I read everyone because somewhere out there, perhaps in an old photo, a forgotten document, or a long-ignored confession, the real truth about D.B. Cooper might still be waiting to be found.